Hey guys, got another power station to share with you. This one is from AlphaESS, and this is their Blackbee AP1000. I went ahead and already did the unboxing, but you obviously get the power station, you get the wall charger, and then the little extra cord that goes with that. You get a DC charging cord, so this would go into like a 12-volt cigarette lighter style plug, and then the other end will plug into your power station. You get a USB-C to USB-C cable. Get the user manual, and then a little warranty card. And it does have a 24-month warranty. And you can register your product and get an extra 12 months, so you can get 36 months on that. This is the box that came in, then it was shipped inside of another box with lots of padding and stuff, but let's kind of just go over this quickly with you guys. It is 1,036 watt hours, lithium ion batteries, MPPT charge controller in it, over 1,000 life cycles to 80%. We'll go over a lot of this stuff here in a bit. I just kind of want to show you the box that comes in. This shows you what all the different buttons and everything on the display, what all it controls. It's got wireless charging. Again, we'll go over all this stuff, some lights on it. And then there, what was inside the box. Some quick dimensions on the AP1000 is it's just over 13 and a half inches wide. It is 10 and a half inches tall. And it is 9 inches deep, and it weighs 22 and a half pounds. Here is all of the specifications in the manual. Just in case I do forget anything as we're going through, you can pause that and look at any of the stuff that you want to. All right, I'll kind of quickly try to go over some of the specifications that I just showed in that manual. First thing is, this is a lithium ion battery chemistry. It's not a lithium iron phosphate. The overall capacity is 1,036.8 watt hours, which in milliamp hours is 288,000 at 3.6 volts. And you should be able to get over 1,000 complete discharge and full recharge cycles before you start losing any of the battery capacity at all. So if you use this thing for camping every weekend, 52 weeks out of the year, it's still going to last you over 10 years before the batteries even start to diminish a little bit. It's got a built-in battery management system, which basically protects you for like under voltage, over voltage, overload protection, short circuit protection, if the thing were to get too hot, so over temperature, stuff like that. So I'll try to quickly go around and just kind of show you the stuff on here. This right here is the input. This is where you're going to charge it. That's a 5525. So you can use anything from 12 volts up to 24 volts in this. And it has 180 watt max input going into it. So right here are your USB ports. You have a USB-C, which is a 100 watt power delivery port. You have another USB-C and then two USB-A's. That top USB-C port, the power delivery one, like I said, it's 100 watts, and it can be anywhere from 5 volts, 3 amps, all the way up to 20 volts, 5 amps. That's how you get the 100 watts there. The second USB-C is 5 volt, 3 amps, and then the USB-A's are 5 volt, 2.4 amps. Moving along, over here we have 3 AC outlets. Those are 110 volt, 1,000 watt continuous, 2,000 watt peak or surge, and those are at 60 hertz, which is important, and they're all pure sine wave inverter in it. This is 1,000 watts shared between the 3 outlets. They're not 1,000 each, okay? Then over here we have some more DC ports. There's a couple DC 5525, and then your 12 volt like cigarette style right there. Those are 10 amps shared. It's 12 volts, 10 amps shared between all 3 of the outlets there. Up on top, there are 2 wireless charging pads there, and those are 10 watts each. Coming around to the side, got their logo. There's a little bit of venting inside of the logo. We have the carry handle. So, and that does fold completely flat, so you could store stuff up on top of it. And it's a real wide handle. It obviously goes the whole width of the power station. On the back, we have a couple LED lights. And this last side, there's a little more venting right in that logo there. The bottom of the unit has some rubberized feet, and then some information, more or less just more of the specifications. So this right here is my main purpose for kind of wanting that larger power station. I bought myself a new 6-person Connect tent. Then I got another tent here, bought this one, got a new canopy that I bought. I got some new chairs that I bought. And my plan is, as soon as the weather breaks, is I'm gonna start camping. My family and I used to camp quite a bit. We just had a small pop-up camper. We'd go 5 or 6 times a year. Really always enjoyed it. And then just with, you know, my son's school activities and stuff like that, we just kind of got away from it. And so I'm gonna try to get back into it. And a lot of the campsites that I am gonna be going to are gonna be primitive or no electric at all. So I was kind of looking for a power station, you know, that could run lights, fans, inflate air mattresses, just stuff like that for, you know, a few days. So let's take a look at the display, see what it looks like. So there we go. So it looks like we have the watts that are coming in. So like however much you're charging it, it'll display that. The watts going out. It does show an actual percentage of the battery, which I like. And it has the little battery bars, which usually are like 20%. The display only seems to stay on for about 15 seconds right now. We'll see if that changes once we plug stuff into it. I would definitely prefer it to stay on so I can see, you know, what the wattage is and the percentage and stuff like that. But it definitely shuts off after like 15 seconds. So like most other power stations, you do have to hit the buttons to turn on the different ports that you're trying to use. So if I want to use the DC, the USB ports here, I just hit that and there's a little green indicator telling me that it's on. And that now those are active. And if I want to use the AC outlets, I just hit the button there. There's an inverter fan I just heard kick on. If I want to use the 12 volts up here, I hit that button. So right now I've got them all in use. And then if I want to use the wireless up on top, you have to double hit the info button. So there's no light, and I'm going to double tap, and now you see the blue light just came on, and it was that right there. So if I want it back off, I just tap it again. See that? And to use this light on the back, it's a single press. Probably hard to see, but there's a whole bunch of LEDs in here. Those are all individual LEDs. So let's tap again, and it got a whole lot brighter. And even brighter yet. That thing is real bright. I don't know if it'll tell us how many watts it's using or not. It's using 3 watts. So obviously it was even less than that on the lower levels. And it does have an SOS. It's a double tap here. And I don't know if it's if it'll be on the brightest or not, but we'll see. Yeah, it appears to be the brightest setting for SOS. I want to check on the dim setting. If I go to that SOS, if it stays dim for SOS or if it goes to the brightest again. And it goes to the brightest. Show you guys this light in the dark so you get an idea of what the low, medium, high looks like. That is the low setting. Medium setting. And high. So definitely lights up an entire room. I know that most user manuals will tell you to fully charge these power stations before you start using them. I've honestly found that the batteries seem to work better if you fully discharge it. So you get it right out of the box and then you completely discharge it, then you fully charge it, then you start using it. And the batteries seem to last a whole lot longer by doing it that way. So I have this 1200 watt heater here, and I'm gonna see if on the lower setting, which I think is maybe 600 watts, it's either 600 or 900, I'm gonna see if this power station will run it. All right, so we're plugged in. The first setting here is just the fan on this. And then the second setting is the heat. And then let's see what we got going on here. So when this little heater first turns on, it's like around 700 watts, but then it actually gets down to below 300 and continues to run. So I'm actually just gonna let this thing run until the power station goes dead. I'm at 40% right now. It might take a few hours, but I'll just leave that thing run for a while. All right, so I let the AlphaESS run all the way down until it powered itself off. I'm gonna see if we do get the 180 watts of input here from the wall. Might take it a few seconds to get up to the full amount here, but we'll see. And it does look like it's getting up there. So this is charging at 179, 180 watts here. I'm gonna plug in, I have one of these wall chargers here. Mine is only 65 watts, but it says that right there can accept 100 watts of input. So with my 65, that should take us up to what, around 245. So let's plug in and see if we get close to that. Yeah, not too far off. So if the overall capacity of this is just over 1,000 watts or watt hours, and we're charging at 235, 240, this will take, what, roughly about 4 hours or so, just over 4 hours to fully charge. And just to show you, this thing does have pass-through charging. So I'm charging by the wall right now. I'm gonna turn the inverter on, and the light just came on. So I got 237 going in and 60 plus going out right now. So it's a real nice feature to have. And personally, I actually don't even like to use the AC side for the pass-through. You can do it, but I would just stick with the DC if I were the one doing it. But I just want to show you that it does work just fine. All right, I did want to quickly show you guys the 12 volt charging just so we can see what the wattage is and how long it's going to take. It was around 180 with the wall. It probably won't be quite as much here. Sometimes these outlets just don't put out the same wattage, but we'll see what it gets up to. It seems to have stabilized or stopped right around 121 watts, 120 watts. Again, if it's 1,000 watt hour capacity, that's going to take probably 8 to 9 hours in a car to fully charge that back up. But I do assume that if you have multiple 12 volt outlets that are on different fuses or whatever, like I have a couple up in the front of the Jeep too, that I could run a USB-C to this port right there and then get a lot more input even in the car. AlphaESS also sent me one of their 200 watt solar panels to charge up that power station. So I'll get this thing set up and kind of show it to you guys. So on the back of the panel is this zippered pouch, and in it you get a user manual. You get some Anderson connectors to Anderson connectors. You get Anderson connectors to the 5525, which will plug directly into the power station. They also include a 7709 adapter and a 5521 in case your power station uses those. and you just use the same cord, and where you would plug this into your power station, you just plug that in there, and then that's basically an 8mm, which is like your Jackeries and stuff like that. And here are some quick specs on that solar panel. 200 watt maximum power, voltage 19.8. The open circuit's what you really need to kind of know about, so you can go 23.7. It's monocrystalline cells. And there's your dimensions. So here's the panel, kind of unfolded. I'll show you the back side here in a minute. Probably have to move this out to the yard so I get a little more sun. Kind of losing sunlight here in my driveway. But this is the back side of it. It's got 4 legs that are Velcro down, and then also have these straps that prevent it from going too far out. And then I've got the Anderson cable plugged in. I just need to plug that other end into the power station. We'll see what kind of wattage we get. All right, we'll plug it in, see what we get here. I don't know how well this will even show up. Try to zoom in on that a little bit better. So right now we're in the 40s, 50s. Hopefully we get over 100. I know, you know, it is February here, but so this, and I'm in Ohio, so the sun isn't great, but yeah, we're over 100 now. So it's actually doing really well. It looks like it's stabilizing right around 114. I might move this panel over to my yard, like I said a little bit ago, and see if I can get a little more. I know I'm partially in the shade right now. If you use solar panels in your yard, I would recommend putting like a piece of plywood or a longer 2x4 or something down, because believe it or not, that grass blocking the bottom of the panels will make a difference on how much your wattage is. It casts a shadow on the panels there. But let's try it one more time, see if we can get over that 114. Over 50. Yeah, so we're obviously over 130 now. So very good for February, the time of day, you know, the angle of the sun. Not bad at all. There's a close-up of those straps and the legs. And then, like I said, the legs will just collapse back in. Also wanted to show you, you can hang these panels. There's 4 of those little straps along the top and 4 along the bottom. All right, so I got the power station fully charged. I figure I'd quickly show you guys some common things that these power stations are used for. So say that you need some lights, we'll plug that in there. And now we have light. I got a small fan over there. We'll plug that one in. So then you would have lights and fans going. I'm gonna turn this the other way so that it's not drowning out the sound completely here. But that fan's still going. Obviously, like iPads and iPhones and stuff like that. So we'll plug that into that one there. That should power on. So we got that charging. See, that's charging right there. You could do battery chargers. So have some batteries in here. Use one of the other ports. See, that's now charging. Got another iPad over here, one of the larger ones. Try to reach around here. See, that just came on. That's now charging. Got an Apple Watch. There's still one more USB-C right here. You see the watches. If you watch right here, it should show it charging. There we go. So we're plugged in and charging on there now. A lot of people use these for drones, for the batteries for those. So again, I got an extra port right there. I could plug that into that, get that thing charging up. So right now I have 7 things plugged in. I'm using 49 watts total. And let's say I need to charge a wireless capable phone. I can double tap that, get that up there going, set the phone down on top of it, and that'll start charging there. I did want to let you guys know that that display will stay on as long as you're basically using the power station. So if you have any of these outputs turned on, like the little lights here, that display will stay on the entire time, whether it be for a half hour, 10 hours, whatever it might be. As long as you have one turned on, the display stays on. So that's a really nice feature. That way you can keep track of your percentage. You can just kind of glance over it, or you can see how many watts you have going out. So all these things here on the table are what most people will use these power stations for. I'm going to show you a few less common things, but show you how useful these power stations really are. So this right here is one way that I use these little portable power stations. Got a little 5x10 utility trailer, and I use a hand dolly to pull this thing around to the front of the house. And I probably have, I'm going to guess, at least 600-700 feet total that I pull this thing by hand. And if you have tires that are flat or even remotely flat, pulling this thing through the yard and then going around to the side and up the other way, like it takes all your might. So I'll bring these little power stations out here and inflate the tires here before I ever start pulling it. And as you can see, there's no air in the tank right now. Flip that on, I'll let the tanks build pressure, and then I'll get some air in this tire. So this right here is another real nice way that these power stations come in hand, is this little like shrub, bush, tree line type thing is like, I don't know, probably like 70 feet long. And it's a couple hundred feet away from like the nearest outlet. So I had to take like a couple or 3 extension cords, put them together, whereas I can just plug a hedge trimmer directly into the power station and use it this way. See, it's plugged in here. We can just go right along, trim this stuff right up. And you can see that makes quick work of it. And basically I can just pick this right up then and just move along to the next one. So my air mattress, you cannot use a hand pump on it. It has to plug in. So let's just see if this AlphaESS will inflate this thing. If it powers on, which I'm hoping it does, I probably won't bore you guys with the entire inflation process, but I just want to make sure it is going to work. And yeah, it sounds like it is. It didn't like power off or anything like that, and it's definitely filling up here. So if I show all this, I'll probably take it in like 2 times the speed or something, but it for sure 100% is working. It's pulling 82 watts total. You know, and if that only takes a few minutes to inflate, that's really not going to use hardly any battery capacity of that at all. That's exactly what I needed it for. So that probably took like 3 minutes maybe, which is no more than what it would take just like with your regular house outlet, and we're still sitting at 100%. So that's gonna work out great. So those were just a few ways that you can use these types of power stations. Basically imagine it just being an outlet anywhere that you need an outlet. You know, this particular one is capable of running power tools like grinders or drills. You could definitely do small appliances like 2-slot toasters, smaller microwaves. So as great as this power station is, there are a few things I'd like to see changed on future models. One of the things that's a little bit nitpicky, but there's actually like a piece of rubber that goes along this handle right down through here. And when this closes, that rubber almost kind of sticks to the plastic right here. And there's nowhere, anywhere around this entire handle for you to like actually grab it and lift it up. And it's somewhat difficult. Like you gotta like get your fingers up underneath here and then pry it, and then it finally comes up. I'd almost like to see like a little notch or something that you could easily get your fingers in there to pop that up. Second thing I'd like to see changed out is maybe put the LED lights that are here, put them somehow on the front of the unit. Maybe go along like the sides like this here, or something along top and bottom or something. But imagine needing this like in your tent or something like that. And you've got all of your stuff plugged in, but then you need the light. So then this thing, it has to be turned this way with all of your stuff plugged in on the other side that you can't get to it. Or imagine this being like in a van or something like that, and you have it like shoved back into like a cubby or a corner. Well, you basically can only use the front display here, and you can't use the light for anything. So I would prefer to have the light and everything, the charging ports, outputs, everything on just one side of the unit. Another thing I'd like to see changed is to have a dedicated button for the wireless charging. You know, if you want to use your USB ports over here, there's a dedicated button. If you want to use your AC, it's a dedicated button. The 12 volt over here, dedicated button. But up here, you have to hit this thing, you know, a couple times to get that to turn on. And I'd like to see just a button somewhere up here or something like that. You know, if I was to let somebody borrow this power station, they would probably not know how to turn that on because that just says info there and it doesn't tell them anything about the wireless charging. And finally, the last thing I'd like to see different is a much larger display. Like they have this whole area here. I don't know all the internals and the electronics and everything behind here and the battery, how everything is situated, but it just seems like you could use this entire space here, you know, to put a much larger display. And then I'd also like to see, instead of it just showing 100% and then the in and out, I'd like to see how many hours are remaining. So if I'm running lights and fans, I'd like this to tell me you've still got, you know, 37 hours at this load that's on there. But those are just some minor things. And overall, I think it's a really fantastic unit. You know, obviously these are great for power outages, but they're also great for camping. They're great for tailgating. Like I said before, maybe throwing it on a boat and you can take a TV and stuff like that out there. These are a lot of fun just to set a projector out in your yard with a screen, you know, hook it in here, put some chairs around it and watch a movie out there, you know, with the kids or whatever. There really are so many uses for them. So I'm gonna leave a couple links down in the video description about this power station, and then also if you wanna find out any more information on AlphaESS. All right, guys, that's gonna be it on this one. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it.